Welcome back to the next part of this series, where we are currently looking at all the rolling stock used by each of the train operating companies over the years since privatisation. In this episode, we'll be looking back at the first Thameslink franchise, which was operated by Govia between 1997 and 2006. As we're only looking at the first Thameslink franchise, First Capital Connect and the current Thameslink service under the GTR umbrella will feature in future episodes. If you haven't done so already, then please check out our previous videos in the series. Links are appearing now. Also, if you like what you see here and you're new to the channel, then please like and subscribe. All your support goes a long way to the channel and also helps support the Brockwell Park Miniature Railway. I'd like to thank all our patrons as well, as their support has helped the railway through these recent tough times. So let's begin. Before we get started, let's have a little historical context. Thameslink services began operating in 1988 as a subdivision of Network South East. What made the service unique was that it utilised a closed rail link, the Snow Hill Tunnel, under London, allowing for a mainline crossrail style service to begin from north to south, crossing the city and the River Thames. The Snow Hill tunnels were constructed by the London, Chatham and Dover Railway, opening to traffic in 1866. This allowed the LCDR to connect its line from Herne Hill in South London to the then new Metropolitan Railway at Farringdon, which had only opened 3 years earlier. The Metropolitan Railway being the first underground railway in London and the world. A station within the tunnel called Snow Hill was eventually opened to passengers in 1874. However, this was closed in 1916 due to a lack of demand. The tunnel had remained open to goods traffic until the 1960s, with the tracks being finally lifted in the 1970s. However, this wasn't abandoned for long. Work started on the Thameslink route in 1986, with the route being fully opened by 1990. A new station called St Paul's Thameslink was opened within the tunnel, and this eventually replaced the nearby Holborn Viaducts station, which was subsequently closed and demolished. This new station was renamed City Thameslink shortly afterwards, to avoid confusion with the London Underground Central Line station, St Paul's, which was also nearby. To run this new service, British Rail needed a new dual voltage unit capable of running on the 25 kV AC overhead lines, which ran from Moorgate all the way to Bedford in the north, as well as on the Southern Region's 750 volt DC third rail. From this, the Class 319 was born. The Class 319s were built by British Rail Engineering Limited in 2 batches between 1987 and 1990. The first batch built were referred to as the 319-0s and had been fitted as standard class only, whilst a second batch of 26 units were classified as 319-1s. These had the inclusion of first class, as they had been designed for longer journeys in mind. After privatisation, the contract to run the Thameslink service was won by Govia, which started operating the service from March 1997. This led to the first of the 319 refurbishments. A large percentage of the 319-0s were refurbished at Railcare Wolverton between 1997 and 1998, receiving the new Thameslink navy blue and yellow livery. After refurbishment, they were reclassified as 319-4s and received a new first class section, new seat covers, carpets, and were branded as the Thameslink City Flyer units. Those not converted to 319-4s remained as 319-0s, although 7 were refurbished into 319-2s to operate the new Connex South Central Express. The entire 319-1 fleet were refurbished at Eastleigh Works between 1997 and 1999 and were renumbered as 319-3s. They lost their first class but gained the navy blue and yellow livery. As these were destined to work the shorter Luton to Wimbledon and Sutton services, these were branded as the Thameslink City Metro. In 2004, and now towards the end of the first Thameslink franchise, some 319s received a revised livery of blue and silver. However, this wasn't to last long, as Govia lost the franchise to First Group in 2006, of which we will cover in a future video. Thameslink hired in Class 317s from West Anglia Great Northern briefly in 2002, and these were required to run additional services into Moorgate via a route known as the Widened Lines, which ran parallel to the London Underground's Metropolitan, Circle and Hammersmith and City lines from King's Cross. Again, between September 2004 and May 2005, further 317s were acquired to run services into St Pancras, this time due to the Thameslink core being severed for 6 months to allow the construction of the new St Pancras station. Like the 319s, the 317s were built in 2 batches, with the first being built between 1981 and 1982, and the second batch being built between 1985 and 1987. Capable of 100 miles per hour, they replaced the Class 127 diesel multiple units on the newly electrified St Pancras to Bedford route in 1983, the very route that the 319s would eventually operate, displacing the 317s. When they were no longer required, these units were transferred back to National Express East Anglia at the end of the blockade. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for making it this far. Until next time, goodbye.